I'm back with another liquid color product. These are Winsor & Newton water-based inks, and while these aren't exactly watercolors, they're not waterproof and they can be used for watercoloring. Now, I don't intend on going through every single product that is water-based and can be used for watercolor. I just don't have that kind of time. But since I have a limited number of these, I figured I'd at least swatch them for you guys. And I think I bought these as a set. And I have Black Indian ink, violet, blue, emerald, canary yellow, orange, nut brown, and scarlet. I believe they do come in a few more colors than this. I just don't own those colors. I'm just going to swatch what I do have. And these, sorry about that noise, these are not quite like the Radiant or Hydrus watercolors by P.H. Martins. They do not have the dropper top. Dropper top makes it a lot easier to swatch. With these, if you want to work in tint, you're going to have to use a dropper rather than contaminating the whole. Rather than do that, which would make a simple swatch test take a lot longer, I'm going to use a clean watercolor brush that's been pretty much dried out, and I'm going to apply an initial swatch and then use a water brush to go ahead and blend it out. And that was like completely off camera. So I will try to zoom in. I'm still using the awful setup that doesn't really work because I haven't have not been able to replace my clamp yet. But if you guys have any recommendations for a good camera setup that works well for overhead recording, let me know. All right, there's violet. And working with these is a little messier than with the dropper style watercolors I was using previously. There's blue. And there are more colors of these inks available than what I am demonstrating here. They are available both in sets and open stock. I love when that noise happens because it's always bad news. I wish I could stay zoomed in. It's just really not feasible, unfortunately. You can check the blog though for up-close shots of these swatches. This is part of my ongoing watercolor basics series. So if you're interested in learning how to watercolor, I highly recommend you check that out. It's an in-depth series that is currently ongoing. I cover everything I can think of for how to go about painting watercolor comics. This is specific to watercolor comics, not watercolor for fine art. There's plenty of information about that on the internet, and while there is some overlapping information, there are also some very specific things. And I also thought approaching it from a comic perspective, which is what I do, I'm a watercolor comic artist, would make it more accessible to people who want to learn but don't need a fine art background to do it. So illustrators, comic artists, but also, you know, card makers, stampers, watercolor journalists, art journalists, people who do decorative planners, that sort of thing. And hopefully you, if I make it the barrier of entry lower, more people will try it, more people will fall in love with it, more people will appreciate it. I definitely want more people to pick it up. But I've also found that when you are dealing with people who understand what you do and what goes into what you do, they tend to be more likely to support your work. And since I am a watercolor comic artist, you know, I do have a horse in the game. So hopefully, whoa! Y'all didn't see that. That was a pretty good catch. By introducing more people to watercolor and teaching more people how to watercolor, they will be interested in checking out my watercolor comic, 7-Inch Kara. So it's got a dual effect. And the problem, or the interesting thing about these inks, is with most inks, even many water-based inks or inks that are use water as their main solution or solvent, these do not ever become waterproof. So these can dry and you can put water on them and they'll reactivate, which makes them inappropriate for inking your watercolor illustrations, but it may make them very appropriate for using them to add subtle details. And hopefully we'll get around to doing a field test where we play around with these. So I hope this little exploration was helpful for you guys. I hope it was interesting, inspiring. Maybe it introduced you to a new use for a product you already own. If you enjoyed this tutorial slash, it's not even a tutorial really, it's really just a swatch demonstration explanation of a product. If you enjoyed this, please take a moment to leave a like, consider subscribing to my channel for more like this. Maybe share this with your friends. You'll be doing me a huge favor and you'll get a reputation as that friend who shares all the cool art tutorials, which is not a bad reputation to have. People tend to really like you and pay attention to the things you post. So, you know, added benefit for you if you're a fellow artist. And if you'd like to help fund more tutorials like this, more demonstrations, more overviews, that sort of thing, please check out my Patreon at patreon.com/natosoup for more information on how to join my community of art nerds. And if you like content like this, please check out my blog, natosoup.blogspot.com, for the rest of my Watercolor Basics series. So I hope you guys found this helpful and inspiring. If not, perhaps entirely useful. I will see you guys later. Bye!